Hello, everyone. My guest today is Dorin Rosenshine. She's the founder and CEO of Outleads, a Microsoft Accelerator company. Outleads enables brands to engage customers with online advertising and relevant content based off offsite and offline data. She has over a decade of experience in optimizing the digital presence for firms in a variety of industries, from consumer electronics to home improvement. Dorin, are you ready to take us to the top?
Yeah, let's do it.
Very good. Okay, so what's the company do? What I miss in the bio, and what's your revenue model? How do you make money?
Yeah, so we basically enable companies to run online ads to you based off of your phone call activity. So if you're calling up a bank and you're talking about a mortgage, we enable the bank to then show you ads online based on the fact that you called and you spoke about that mortgage.
Okay, and
Now,
how's that tech work? What's the tracking? Obviously, it's not a cookie.
it is sort of a cookie. So basically what we do is we connect your online presence with the phone call that you make. So if you're on a website and then you transition into a phone call, we have technology that basically follows you around and connects the phone call that you just placed to your online session and appends the data from the phone call back into your online session, then enabling companies to advertise to you based off of that.
Okay, but if all that originated from a website visit, aren't I already able to be, retargeted from that website visit, regardless if I called or not?
So I missed what you said because you broke off a little bit. So you asked about.
Sure. What I was saying is, can't I still be retargeted since I visited the website, regardless if I called or not?
Oh, yes, but your calling is a much stronger indicator of your interest, right? So if you're on the website and once you call, right, you've left the website. Now, without connecting your phone call data to your website activity, the company has no idea if you left because you called or if you just left because you weren't interested.
How are you connecting the two? How are you connecting the two, though?
You're right. So what we do is once you're on the website, we generate a unique identifier to you, and we append that identifier to the phone number. So once you dial, as soon as the call connects, that code, it's like a numeric code, it's being dialed immediately as soon as the call connects, and it's being picked up by the call center.
Okay.
So
hold on. Sorry, I don't understand that. I go to Dropbox.com. I want to buy Dropbox. They're using your technology. I then grab my cell phone that's sitting next to me and I dial Dropbox. How on earth are you going to connect the two?
Right. So if you're on your mobile phone and so there's two scenarios, right? There's a scenario where you're browsing on your mobile phone and then you're clicking the link that you have on the website on the mobile phone and you're clicking to call, right? In that case, we generate a numeric code and we append it automatically to the phone number as soon as you click to call. Okay, so and then once you call in, so you actually will see like your phone number with a comma and a number, like a two-digit.
Okay, I totally understand that use case.
Right. If you're on a one computer and then you're calling from another device, right? So what we do is we generate a numeric code that is displayed on the web page, and then you're being prompted for it once you call. So you actually see, so when you're browsing on the website, you see the phone number and then it says extension so-and-so. So for you, it would be, let's say, extension 1. If I visited the same website as you, would be extension 2 and so forth. So we reuse those codes all the time. I do have to say that because of the growth of mobile activity, what most people do is they'll browse from their phone and then they'll dial in they'll click to call and then dial in like that.
Well,
so
is this like I would say I follow that buying behavior on, like, if I want to buy a book off Amazon, but if I'm making a decision about buying a piece of software for my business to use, it's not going to happen on my phone. It's going to be on a computer.
Yes, but a lot of times, so you'd actually be surprised at how much the mobile share of traffic has grown, and it's nearly equivalent to the desktop traffic and actually it's even surpassing it if we take tablets into account, even on B2B websites that the traditional B2B websites that you think. So people looking
I totally get the traffic, and I totally believe that, and I've seen the stats. I'm talking about a buying decision though. Like, even if I browse, maybe I want to buy Manny's, company Outreach. I want to buy a license for my thing. I might browse outreach.io on my phone, but still, when it comes in to put $1,000 a month credit card in, I'm going to do that via like a computer. And what you're saying is, when people do that, the way you're tracking is with these unique identifiers, the extensions.
Yes, and also there's there's different stages, right? So you can be on your computer trying to decide if you're going to buy it or not, but when you want to dial in, it's much easier to just open the website on your mobile phone and click to call rather than open the keypad and starting to dial.
I've never done that. I go to the website, I look at the call-in number in the upper right, and I pick up my phone and call it. I've never opened the thing on my site and like click the thing. This is why I'm pushing you, by the way, because my audience will go, well, whose use case is more right? What am I more likely to do, Dorin's or Nathan's, right?
Right. Well, I mean, so also, yeah, there's a lot of other industries that are more like B2C that are using our services. So anything from travel and insurance to healthcare, education, a lot of these industries that are not B2B, they're actually very much B2C, are a lot more like mobile based and a lot more tablet based.
Yeah, that's why I was pushing that, by the way. I was hoping you would help us get a better identity of what your customers are. So it is more B2C. It's more consumer companies.
It's definitely, I mean, yes. If you look at the verticals, it's definitely, we have a lot of clients that are B2C. So like anything in auto as well, real estate, those are all B2C companies. They're not B2B. B2B is actually not a very strong vertical for us. Not that strong. I wouldn't say that it's non-existent. We definitely have clients that are B2B, but a lot of the verticals that we serve are B2C.
Okay. Enough of that. I totally get the product now. How do you make money? Is it a SaaS company or what?
It is a SaaS company. Okay. We charge a flat monthly fee. So what the one thing that I do want to emphasize is that we don't actually serve the ads. We just connect the data. We take the data from the contact center and push it into online advertising and analytics platforms. So then it's up to the marketer, the digital marketer, to decide what they want to do with that data and how they want to utilize it.
Yep.
So because of that reason, because we don't actually serve the ads and we don't guarantee any results, because it really depends on how the client is using the data. Because we don't guarantee any results, we just charge a flat fee.
And I don't want to go down every example, every pricing option you have, but on average, what's the customer pay you per month?
It really depends. It really could vary a lot because we have clients that are like enterprise size, and we have clients
I totally get that. Totally.
I would say the smallest clients pay usually about $500 a month. And that's a client that usually gets roughly 1,000 phone calls a week. Okay,
that's helpful. And would you say that's a fair average, 500 a month?
No, that is the smallest. The average is probably around, wow, you're really catching me off guard here, but it's something like 3,000 maybe.
That's okay. Yeah, I'm sure you have all of the cohort analysis going on. I don't want to spend time on all that. I'm just curious. Quick overall. Okay.
Yeah, I would say that's a quick gauge.
Okay, and put all this on a timeline for us. When did you launch the company? What year?
2013.
2013. Okay, great. Yes. And have you bootstrapped to date or have you raised?
We have bootstrapped. 2013, when I say 2013, that's sort of when the idea was conceived. At the time, I was working full-time. I had a full-time day job, and I was just putting a couple hours a day into this in the evenings and on weekends. So it took about 2 years until I had decided that I'm going to leave my day job, and then I did it gradually. So it took, after that, another year until I left my day job completely and just.
What do you mean? You were like consulting or something?
Yes, exactly. I was actually freelancing, consulting, and I just kind of let go of my clients one by one, and until I transitioned into Outleads full time. So it really wasn't until just a couple of years ago that I've been into this full time.
Got it. And I thought you read in the bio that you were part of a Microsoft Accelerator, which means you have some funding.
Yes, so we got $25,000 from the Microsoft Accelerator. That was the only outside funding that we've ever received.
That's great.
That was more of a grant. So Microsoft is actually,
Are they on the cap table?
Nope.
Okay,
no,
so
it was a grant. Yeah, they don't. I don't believe they do this anymore, but at the time it was a grant.
That's great. And what have you scaled to over the past 4 or 5 years in terms of total customers using you now?
So we have several dozen customers using our platform.
That's great. So it's very much kind of a high touch, high ARPU, high ACV model.
Yes, I mean it's you mean the sales model, right?
Correct. Yeah, I mean if you say several dozen, what you mean, like 36ish, something like that?
Yeah, we're actually in the mid 40s.
Okay, that's pretty good.
Stuff. But I mean, we are, yes, it's a very like high involvement sale because we have to work with both the digital marketing team, as well as the contact center, and IT usually gets involved because there's a little bit of work on the website to be done. The implementation happens on both the website code as well as the contact center side. So it is a very high involvement sale, and it takes a very long time to complete it.
Yep. I want to chat more about how you're figuring that out in a second. But first, 45 customers paying the average you just gave me, that puts you at about 135 grand a month. Is that generally accurate?
Yes.
That's great. And what's growth look like? So a year ago, what were you doing per month?
Whoa, you're catching me a little bit off guard here. I want to say that about a year ago, we were at roughly half.
Okay. So that's healthy growth. That's great. Bootstrapped, that's good. So call it 70 grand a month. You've doubled since then. And where's most of that growth come from? Does it come from expansion revenue on the older cohorts or brand new customers signing up?
Both. So we have both. So we had a good number of new customers signed up, but we also have rolled out new features. We integrated with Bing Ads. We rolled out an integration. So when we first started, we were mostly integrated with just Google AdWords. And once we added Bing Ads, that meant that we are optimizing a lot more budget. So we have a much bigger budget, right? So because the Bing Ads ad spend was added to what we were optimizing, we also added a lot more features that were relevant specifically to Bing Ads. So the spend that our customers spent with us has grown. For all those features.
What are the pricing axes that you're driving expansion around? Usually it's like, per seat, and there's like a usage data point, and there's a few other things. What are yours?
Yeah, so we have different levels depending on how many phone calls and how many generally actually website visitors we've transitioned to just charging based on the number of website sessions. So we have different steps, and each step is priced differently. We also have,
just to be clear, so like basic at 300 per month is 10,000 monthly website visitors, and then standard at 1,000 a month is 50,000 monthly website visitors. That's what you mean?
You broke off again.
I was just saying basic is 10,000 per month at 300 per month, and then standard at $1,000 per month is about 50,000 monthly unique website visitors. That's the value metric you're pricing on, monthly website visitors.
Yes, exactly. And then in the case where we roll out a major new feature like an integration with Bing Ads, which is a whole new platform, we just upped our prices a little bit for those that wanted to add that functionality.
Why price around monthly website visitors instead of like monthly calls?
Yeah, so basically we still have, our system still runs and generates a numeric code for every website visitor that comes in, especially in the case of B2B. We still generate that numeric code, and kind of just pricing around the volume of phone calls that we get just puts a little bit of the risk. So the ability of the company to convert those website sessions into phone calls, right? It puts us into that risk. So there is a risk where a company that is just where the marketing team doesn't do a very good job of converting people into callers, we could be conceivably losing a lot of money, right? So we're still running on the website every time that the website runs, every time somebody accesses their website, our code runs, and that costs us money. But if not a lot of people are calling, then, because the marketing team is not doing a good job of converting, then we're not gaining much. Does that make sense?
That just seems like such a tough sale for you. You have to do so many things, and then also convince the marketing team to make sure they are actually driving calls.
Yes, and make it, a lot of marketing teams are saying, oh, we don't want calls because they're very expensive.
Yeah.
Yes, but what's turning this around a little bit is the entry of AI into the call center. So Google actually just launched a partnership with Genesys, which is a contact center software provider, one of the largest in the world, that is also our partner. And they launched a partnership where if you're calling, you can actually be talking to a robot, basically, and not even realize it. So that makes the ability to accept phone calls a lot less costly. It makes it much more cost effective every call.
Totally.
And it's interesting because I think marketers, if the cost was the same, I think marketers would actually prefer to get phone calls, because when you're talking to somebody, you're picking up a lot more information. And if it's a robot talking, then now you don't need to do any manual entry. The robot is just picking up what you're saying. And
Dorin, totally understand. Yeah, it makes perfect sense. All this is obviously accumulated into churn, right? Are your customers sticking with you? So what is your churn today?
So we have not lost any customers since our launch.
Okay,
Which we're very
talk
proud
about
of.
revenue churn though.
So we've not lost, we've only grown in revenues because we've not lost customers. We have only added, and customers have only added more. They've either kept everybody that has come on board, and when we just had AdWords has kept that. And when we rolled out Bing ads, that was the only time that we really raised our revenue, our revenue steps.
So
We
Doran,
had
sorry, just to be clear, you've had no one, even if you haven't lost a customer, no one has downgraded even by one level, going from 50,000 hits down to 10,000 hits per month.
No. We don't have that at all. We've not. I mean, companies that they have had tried to sell to companies that were just not at a good time in their, in their kind
Would
of
they
growth
start paying you
trajectory.
and then stop?
No, because every time that we've encountered a company like that, they've just decided to not sign up. So we've never really had a company sign up at a time that wasn't when it wasn't growing.
I mean,
Mostly because marketers just decide not to spend on
sure.
new tools when
Every time someone tells me they have zero churn, I mean, my initial thing is you're not being aggressive enough. Like it's too cheap. Like you should actually have churn. There is no hugely successful SaaS company with no churn.
So, I mean, then I'm sure we'll encounter it at some point, but we just haven't, but keep in mind also, we've really only been selling for the past couple of years. Right?
I mean, that's more than a year of sales. I mean, that's a good cohort of data though.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we just haven't encountered it.
Yeah. So why not triple price point?
We could. We've just, there's competition. There is, and really our interest is really on just growing our customer base at the moment. So, would we do it in the future? Possible. But right now we really just want to grow our customer base and gather case studies and kind of show that the product works really, really well.
But you've already shown that no one has left, right? If people were leaving, maybe you said, maybe we need to do some case studies to show that it actually works. Too many are leaving.
Yes, so we're thinking about it. It's in the talks. We might do it in 2019. We still have a little bit of time to decide.
Do what?
Increase our price points.
Yeah.
So
interesting.
we just.
By the way, don't come back and blame me if it fails. I'm just saying, when I hear zero churn, I don't see that as a strength. I see it actually as a weakness.
It's a good point. I think we were really, really pushing, because I spent such a long time and a lot of resources on building the product for almost 3 years. Our focus, once we launched, our focus was really just, let's just get customers and really show that this is working. And also keep in mind that once a customer comes on board, it takes time to kind of gather a case study, gather the data, because we still do a lot of changes in the implementation once the customer comes on board, right? So we have a lot of optimizations, a lot of things that are added and changed and tweaked. So it really takes time to actually show the customers that this is valuable and for them to really see the value. So for a lot of those reasons, we've decided to just we haven't really paid too much attention to the price points themselves. Our focus has really been on just growing the customer base and gathering case studies, but it might be on the books, an increase in the price.
Sure. What's the team size today?
We are 5 people.
Okay, and what's the breakdown?
Wildly, really overloaded. So we have 3 tech people and 2 salespeople.
That's great. And is everyone remote or all based in New York?
Everyone's based in New York.
That's great. Okay, 5 people in New York. So I assume cash flow positive?
We are cash flow positive, yes.
That's great. Any plans to raise?
No, not at the moment.
And any acquisition talks with anybody?
No comment.
How do you, if you should analyze, someone wanting to buy you, what are the pros and cons?
I think this technology, it's very, very valuable, but at the same time, like every startup, it's very uncertain. So, given that I've been in it 5 years, I'm not, I'm kind of very neutral, towards, I'm not really leaning towards either way. I'm not at the point where I'm still really excited about super building it, but I'm also not at the point where I really, really want to exit. I think one of the pros is definitely cutting the risk that's involved. One of the cons is that, you really don't know if there is more upside. As far as from a resource perspective, I think it's going to be much easier to grow inside a company. I mean, if a company that has like 3,000 clients that could all be using this service as an add-on, if it buys us, then all of a sudden we just have really easy access.
Yeah, this is like a car dealer, company that already sells to car dealerships or restaurants or anything. Yeah.
Yes. So even just a company that is like, that is all over like all of these verticals that, it doesn't even need to be necessarily focused in a specific vertical and just selling to companies. So I think that's a huge pro and the ability to kind of make the sales organization more professional, the sales process more professional. I think all of those would be pros. The cons would be losing the flexibility and freedom and to some extent, I think, of just being a tiny startup.
Dorin, last economics question here because we're out of time. CAC, what are you spending fully weighted to acquire our customers?
So we're spending a few $1,000s to acquire every customer, and that's spread across the sales and ad spend and all.
So what's your
things.
payback then? Is it about a month or 2 months or more?
It takes us more. It takes us even more because keep in mind also, once we sign up a customer, we have a lot of times we give them free trials, we give them pilots. So it takes us almost 6 months to
recover.
Yes.
Yeah. Very good.
To just break even on that.
All right. Let's wrap up with the famous 5 one-word answers here if you can. Number 1, what's your favorite business book?
Whoa. Can we go on other questions?
Yeah, if you don't have one, just say none.
None.
Number 2, is there a CEO you're following or studying?
I was following Steve Jobs.
Number 3, how many hours of sleep? What's your favorite online tool for building your business?
Gmail.
And number 4, how many hours of sleep do you get every night?
I shoot for 7 to 8.
And what's your situation? Married, single, kiddos?
I am engaged, getting married in 5 weeks.
Oh, congratulations. That's great. No kids yet?
No kids yet, but hopefully soon.
That's great, Dorin. And do you mind me asking about how old you are?
I am 31. I'm going to be 32 in a couple months.
That's great. Okay, last question. What do you wish your 20-year-old self knew?
Oh, man. Live the moment because it's going to pass.
Guys, there you have it. Live the moment. She launched Outleads back in 2013. Helps you basically do retargeting based off call-in data. Something very unique, tough to track. She's figured out a way to do it. Team of 5 based in New York. Currently serving about 45 customers, doing called 135 grand per month in revenue. That's up about doubled year over year. And she's doing it bootstrapped, which I love. No churn so far. So, obviously testing price point. Maybe she needs to be more aggressive there, but she'll figure it out. Spending up to $3,000, maybe $4,000, $5,000 to acquire a customer with a 6-month payback period. Dorin, thank you for taking us to the top.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks so much.